good evening. Well, I guess it depends where you are. So this is HP Shalom, and we're going to have a special sort of Thursday evening prayer time together. So I've been doing a lot of teaching on Sundays, but right now we really have an emphasis on also practicing and working with the teachings and working with our energies to sort of have that movement through of our bodies to allow things to come and go. We hold on to too much in our lives and we become stuck in patterns of thinking, of actions, reactions, of emotions. And really the spiritual path is about letting go. Letting go what no longer serves us. Ultimately, God exists in the present, here and now. That's where our sanity is. That's where our wisdom is. That's where our clear seeing is. However, we tend to live in the past or in the future. We're rarely present with what's occurring. And even when we are, how we process, how we see, how we analyze what's occurring, and how we'll act or react is really colored, influenced by our habitual thinking, our habitual emotions, the way we've reacted in the past, and we project a lot on what's on the present moment that isn't there. And we also constrict ourselves in our actions or reactions. And as we sort of do our work, we let go of all that. We process everything we've dammed up in ourselves. And that frees us up. That allows us to let go of our baggage as our train sort of leaves the station, the spiritual, religious express, so to speak. And as we go along this train, as we learn to navigate the turns and everything, the baggage just magically kind of disappears along the journey. And we realize it really didn't really exist in a certain way. It was things we held on, ghosts of the past, so to speak. And they just leave. And so by taking this time on Thursday, and hopefully different times during the week, hopefully at least 3-4 times, if not more, by taking time, we process and we let go. The pranayama is a powerful practice, the breathing practice, powerful practice that really allows energy to move through our bodies and breaks up areas where it's stuck and allow things to flow better. And with time, it flows in a very unconstricted, unblocked way. Not all at once, but with time. And as it flows more and more, one naturally becomes more present and awake and freer to clearly see what's arising and to make the best, wisest decisions. Because one is sort of freed up from the heavy load of the past, from our ancestral cycles from our families, from our youth, our adulthood, any traumas, and we become free. We reconnect to our birthright. And things actually become easier. We have lighter loads to carry. So, we have the power of our practice together as a group. And so, it's going to be a nice evening. Why don't we begin with, well, if you've lit your shrine, that would be great. It's good to enter into that prayerful space. So if people would like to light their shrine, their altar, and put up a stick of incense if you have it, make sure it looks well. I see something sort of out of position on mine, which I'm going to need to adjust. And then maybe begin some stretches with the legs, sort of sitting down and touching the toe. So things in the legs are more flexible. And people could spend a couple minutes doing that. We really hold all our history in the leg bones. The energy is really locked in there. So when one sits down in prayer, if one is not seated in the chair, there's a lot of constricting that happens in the legs. They're sort of bent. And by stretching, it allows the energy to flow. So when we're praying or meditating, we do it with the whole body. It's not just the mind. This is not just a mental thing. It becomes a whole body. Our whole body influences us. It's really a complete system. We're not just working with our minds. We are working with the energy flow of our whole bodies. And that's why the pranayama is so powerful, because it really moves energy through our entire bodies, activating it and causing things which were always stagnant to start moving. And in that movement opens possibilities that we really didn't imagine. So if people would like to sort of light their shrines, put up some incense, and just do, quick stretches in the legs or whatever feels tight, and then come back to a sort of seated position that's most comfortable for you, and we'll sort of get back together, let's say, 4 or 5 minutes. How does that sound? Okay. Okay. So, I'm thinking I'll give a little space for people who want to do the pranayama. I might guide it, but I can't do it. It is 6 o'clock in California time. And if you do it in the evening, you're going to have a little problem sleeping because it does stimulate energy, and it'll perk you up. So I might do it very lightly, if at all, but I'll be happy to guide people who wish to do it. I would if people, do it in the evening and it doesn't affect them, then great, go ahead. But it's really good in the morning, and it's good in the afternoon. Anything after 6, you might want to be a little careful. So we'll do that, and then we'll do Shema prayer, and basically it's sort of a proclamation of faith that we believe in one God. Basically, it starts with O Israel, which means all those who believe in God. Israel has many different meanings, not just the state. It means all those who believe in the one God. So one is calling, sort of a communion call. It's sort of a proclamation to everyone who believes in God, and then you go on with the proclamation that God is one, basically, that Adonai is God, or Yahweh is God, or Hashem is God, and God is one, meaning there is only one God, not polytheism. It's very powerful, it's highly blessed, and it really puts you in the sort of transmission of Yahweh, and it's a powerful way to align, calls in God, and a powerful way to start. And then I think, we might continue with saying the names of God for a little bit, and then have some space where we can work on just being in that energy and trying to remain present. A little bit of a meditation practice while remaining present and anchored in the energy we've cultivated. That sort of divine energy. And when a thought comes up, you just kind of release it, let go, put your awareness back to your altar space, breathe. And if you're a little more pulled away, you can go ahead and say the name of God again and allow that to anchor you back to what you're doing, which is being in communion with God and the energy we're cultivating. So it's sort of a practice of emanating God's energy and our presence, and then learning to stay, training our mind to stay with what we're doing, not be pulled to the past, to the future, a fantasy, what we're doing tomorrow, what we did yesterday, or somebody who irritated us, or anything like that. We're teaching our mind to remain present to what we're doing. And it's a valuable skill for our entire lives, for everything we do, but also it empowers us to truly walk in a present, wise way in our lives, because we're putting all our energy in what's coming up. And as we learn to work with our energy, to process it, to clear it, all of that becomes available in the present moment. And we're able to make different decisions. We become empowered. And that's really why we sort of do this. One is the communion with God, but the meditation with the mantra of Yahweh, whichever one chooses to use, really makes change in us, really realigns us, really cleans our engine and our wiring and our pipe and our oil in our car, cleans the windshield, and really helps us very quickly actually live in a very different way, in a better way. All right? So people get into their seated position. So I hope people have been practicing the pranayama that I've been teaching. It's with practice. It's not actually hard to do at all. But I hope people progress, because I want to give the last piece, the last instruction with regard to it in about a week's time. And if you've been practicing, you'll be ready for it. If not, you could still listen to it, but I would recommend you hold off on doing it, because it's really going to amp it up. And so one starts lightly in the breathing, sort of a light inhale, light exhale, just maybe a more normal breath. And as one gets used to it, one can start going deeper, having a complete full breath and a complete exhale. Well, we never really use all of our lung capacity. Well, this practice really helps you build lung capacity, because at some point you're going to inhale to the point that you can't possibly inhale a millimeter more of air could not possibly get into your lungs. You're literally filling it up fully to the point that it starts hurting a little bit, and you're holding it a couple seconds. Then you learn to do that open hold where you relax, but it's still held in your lungs. And really, when you can't kind of hold it anymore, then you plug one of the noses and then you exhale quite forcefully. It's not a light exhale. You're ejecting the air out of your lungs. And then you're ejecting, you're pushing out the oxygen more and more and more and more and more. And then when you think there's nothing more to give, you kind of dig in and you give that little oomph out to the point that your lungs are completely, completely empty of oxygen. Then you hold it out for a little bit in the open hold. And then you breathe it in really, really fast from both nostrils. Then you hold it. And then you exhale all the way out. So it's a complete exhale and a complete inhale. And with time, your lung capacity increases, and it's even deeper. It becomes quite forceful. It's quite loud. It's very, very powerful. It unlocks energy. Doing it in a full way could really keep you up a little bit past 10 or 11 if you did it at 6 p.m. So you really need to build up to it. You learn how to manage it when you're a little lightheaded. You learn to manage it if you're a little triggered. You notice your emotions are a little bubbly. You're a little more easier to provoke. More things irritate you. That's energy sort of moving in areas that were blocked, and life force sort of reintegrating. But you have to learn the skill not to give in to those emotions, which only really exist within you because you're doing this practice. You might have a day where everybody irritates you, and you have to be mindful, which is why we do meditation, to have that interior seeing and realize it's nothing to do with them, nothing to do with the red lights or just missing the subway train. Really irritates you to no end, But normally it doesn't. And you have to recognize that, oh, it's the practice. How do I do this practice and still go through my day realizing that I'm a little heightened, and to be okay with that, and developing the skills to calm down? As one does more practice, more meditation, more control of one's emotions and thoughts, it just the thought of, oh, I'm triggered, I need to relax. You know immediately how to relax your body and to release that energy. You develop the skills. And pranayama really propels you along the path in a powerful way, in a very clearing way. I had a thought and it escaped me. It was something I really wanted to say. Well, hopefully I'll come back. So it's something you bring into your life and you learn how to use skillfully. Oh yes, so learning how to manage energy coming up through one's practice, well, that's a valuable skill if one is having a tough discussion with a client or a boss or a family member. Or if one is processing something from their childhood, learning how to release, how to relax, how to step back and say, you know, this is in the past. Breathe, relax, let it flow. This is not happening. This didn't happen in the last 30 years. Is a valuable skill that gives you that little ability to back up slightly, which gives you space. It's not all claustrophobic. It gives you a little distance. You learn how to give yourself a little breathing room in this, mental, energetic, that gives you a space that makes something that would be hard to handle much more fluid. And you learn to relax, not give in to the thought patterns and the emotions as much. And it just leaves, and you get to learn that it's just all energy. Thoughts are energy. Everything's energy. And one learns to dance. Life becomes a dance with the energies within us, outside of us, that come towards us. And it becomes less of a problem. Yes? And if you're new to my teachings, I've been discussing a lot of this in the last month or two. And I've given a lot of instruction on the pranayama and things like that. And the energy in the body through the kundalini and the chakras. And I just gave a teaching on the tree of life last week. I'm going to continue on that this Sunday. So please read, listen to all those teachings. They're all on YouTube. And, you know, listen, and then you'll develop the skills. So pranayama, my friends. After speaking about it, I now feel inspired to do it with you, even though I run the risk slightly of being awake a little later, but it's worth it. So, if you've been doing it for a while and you think you're ready, and I'm sure you know who you are, then feel free to do it more forcefully. I will do it maybe 70% of the way there. Okay? So, for men, the solar channel is on the left side of the body. Women, the solar channel is on the right side of the body. So, one begins by exhaling through the lunar. So that means the lunar for men is on the right side, and for women it's on the left side. It's just, you know, energy patterns in this method that I was taught, which is more from the yogis, is swapped for men and women. So for men, you're going to exhale the first time through the right nose. So you're going to put up a finger and block the left nostril. And for women, you're going to exhale the first time through the left nostril. So you're going to use your right hand and block the right nostril so it goes out through the left part of the nose. Does that make sense? You always inhale from both nostrils. So it's an inhale from both, then you plug one. I often use just the middle finger is a nice one to use. I find I like that. Or you could use the thumb. However you think, you could use with just one hand and you move from one finger to the next and using one hand. There's a very elaborate way that I've taught that's really great. I'm not sure if I'm going to teach it. I'll need pictures to kind of show how to do it, but it's a way to really open up the lung space in a very full way. That way you could breathe an incredibly large amount of air. So you really do it in a very powerful way. I might teach it, but it'll be a little bit in the future. So you see how these things build on each other. And you learn how to work with the energies. Also, if a little energy comes up and it's a little overwhelming, that's an opportunity to say a name of God, one that you feel particularly calming for you. And that also works in calming the energy. We're learning a sort of working with energies. When we're using a mantra of a name of God, as one learns to work with different ones, one begins to realize they're not all the same. They have different energies to them. Saying El Shaddai is not the same as saying Emmanuel. Yahweh is different than Hashem. Adonai is different than Elohim. Abba is different than all of them. They all have an energetic frequency, and they all act in a slightly different way. I gave teachings a year ago that are on YouTube, really going through the different names of God. And I think this spring I'm going to take another pass at all those teachings. But one learns and one works with the name that you feel called to. One deepens with one. And with time, you might want to explore a little bit some of the other names and see how they feel to you. See what they bring up in your mind, see how they feel, and whether that's something you might also want to start to learn to cultivate those energies. Does that make sense? So it's not just saying the name of God is this, and there's certain groups who feel like Hashem is really the name. You shouldn't say any other name. Some would say Adonai, and any of the other names. But one also could come to understand that each one has a particular aspect of God in it. But Emmanuel is more healing, at least for me, more compassion, more spacious in a way, but very much earthy, just like an Emmanuel manifestation would be. El Shaddai is very powerful. It's like lightning, electricity. It's a very powerful name, right? Abba, very spacious, open. For me, it just blanks out my thoughts, makes me very present, very spacious, and feel very held by God in a certain way. So when things come up in your lives and energies feel intense, you could use the name that's the best for that situation that can help you bring you back into balance. Yes? That's the power of mantra. Each one has a different way that it works, and it might work different ways for different people, the same one. But you learn how to manifest that energy through the sound. And since they're divine, you ask God to enter into the situation to bless it and help it. And it changes the frequency. Definitely within you, But as one clears one's energies, when one says it even inside of oneself, it goes around one's body through one's aura. Yes, these things are real. There's energies around the body as well, and it can change the whole situation in a room. That's called spiritual power, and that is real as well. So one actually becomes empowered to really work with space and energies, with your thinking. And if one brings tranquility to a room through one's presence or one's use of a name, it affects other people as well. And we always do that, to bring wholesome energy to a space. We never misuse it. Like if people are very aggressive, we put out an intention and an energy that would help with that, not make it worse. So we're learning, yes? So we're going to do the pranayama. Are you ready? So back straight, yet comfortable. And we're going to inhale first. Always start with the inhale. And then men are going to block the left nostril and women are going to block the right nostril. And then we're going to do an exhale. Hold it. Open hold is like you exhale, it tightens the diaphragm, right? But we kind of release it without an inhale. It's just sort of a open, spacious holding. But it's not really a holding. It's just sort of keeping it in place. Okay? And then we do an inhale, open hold again, block the other nostril, and then for men, you'll be exhaling through the left this time, and women will be exhaling through the right that time. And we do 3 on each side, and then we do both open on the exhale. So it's clearing the solar and lunar channels in our body, the ones that hold disturbing emotions and where we have blocks. And then when we inhale and exhale through both, that really clears it and it moves the energy through the central channel where it could flow better and kind of clears everything that we've sort of done and allows it to leave and move freely. And it moves that energy into the central channel where it's really supposed to flow from. We flow too much to either side. We really need to put more energy in the central channel. And that's where it kind of clears and leaves our body. But since we open that flow, it could lead with a little lightheaded, a little more heightened emotions. And we start slowly so we really don't have heightened emotions. When we're really triggered and we have problems interfacing with other people because everything sort of triggers us. So we work on it slowly, okay? All right, inhaling. Oh, we inhale and exhale through the nose, okay? Important point. All right, let's do this. Hold. Exhale through the nostril. Inhale. Nostril. Exhale. Inhale. Nostril. Inhale. Hold. Nostril. Exhale. Inhale. Nostril exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale through both. Go on your own rate. I don't want people to, feel too rushed. And then you exhale through both. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. And then just rest calm, breathe normally, sort of relax. Just feel the energy through your body and just kind of allow it to move. You might feel a little lighter, a little tingly, and that's just the movement of the life force in your body. It activates the nervous system a lot, and that's just, it's opening things that have been sort of blocked. People are feeling that the energies are settling a little bit, feeling a little more grounded. Just relax. Deep breaths. All right, so we'll do the Shema, and then we'll start our practice. Well, we've already started it. So the pranayama is done at the beginning. It settles and calms our mind. It helps us focus. Don't we feel very present now? It's a way of dispelling energy that we have in our body. It helps us calm and remain present. It releases energy out of our body. It really sort of helps the process of the flow and makes us present. And then we start by praying when we've already settled, and that makes the rest of our practice that much more powerful. So here we go.
Shema Israel, Adonai
Start saying the name of God that you feel called to, and say it as often you want. Have areas of space and silence, and say it again if you want, or have more silence and more being present. It's however you wish. You could also say outright prayers. It's very much making it what you would like for this session to be for you. Okay? prayer and in religion, our aspirations are very important. Aspirations meaning what we hope that they will do and achieve, what we aspire. And so when we do this, we can aspire and ask for healing. We could also aspire for deepening our connection to God, to receive His blessings, to receive, if we choose, His forgiveness, to have that communion with Him. So whether we feel it's happening or not, whether we have the ability to feel that exchange of energy or not, it's important, if one chooses, to have that desire in our heart for those things, our desire to have that connection. It is very important what our intent is. Intent fuels our practice, gives us direction, gives us hope, and also is so important. It shows a desire and a care to connect with Him. And God is conscious, and He sees that. And we've opened the door for Him to come through into our lives. Whether we feel it or not, but He knows in our heart what we desire, that deeper connection. And He would honor that. So as we pray, hold in our hearts the things we would like to feel or connect, or what we wish of during this practice in our lives. And it's with those things that we engage with, those thoughts and wishes, as we say the name of God, as we look at the light of our candle, as we gaze upon our shrine. All of that enters into the mix, as well as our prayers for ourselves, our friends, and our families. All of this comes into our space. It's a very full and beautiful space where we don't hold back. We can have that communication. We come as we are. Yes, so let's continue. So if you haven't been doing too much of a mantra recitation in this practice, go ahead and do that. And if you don't have the practice, now is a good time to begin and feel that energy. Say it a couple times or say it a couple hundred times. If the energy doesn't become too overwhelming, or sometimes you don't feel it at all, but you develop that practice and feel it envelop you and see how it changes your feelings and your thoughts and your body. And I found deep calm this evening by reciting. So I thought I would encourage all of you to do that recitation. You could also imagine that 24-karat gold light like in a mist, enveloping your space and entering into you with the calm and the blessings and wisdom. And you sort of relax into that and allow it to absorb into you, so those energies you can carry into your evening and into the remainder of the week. And by doing that often, you take on those qualities. As I've mentioned before, as a saying, if you put a normal piece of wood in a room full of incense sticks, very soon the piece of wood will smell like the incense, even though it's a normal piece of wood, because it will absorb the energies and the smells, and it will change that piece of wood. So like us, as we pray more, as we say the names of God, those energies in those names infuse into us, and it changes us with time. And we end up emanating and living with those energies of the names within us, and it changes us. And that's why we do the recitation of the names. Not only on the spot in our lives when we need a certain energy or the blessing or to call in God. There's so many different levels we can engage with a name, but also through our regular practice. So we bring it into our body and we try to maintain those energies as long as we can. And it purifies any imbalances within us and heals any imbalances, physical, mental, emotional, energetic. Yes? It's a very, very powerful way to bring about change by the use of sound and frequencies, our intent to connect with God, ask for blessings, and also the very power of the name itself, that is the divine name of God. So why don't we do a little bit of that together? And also, before we go to sleep, it's a powerful time to say the name of God a couple times, just to touch in with Him. And that puts a certain pattern in one's mind as one drifts off to sleep. Sleep time is a very important time. And by resonating with those energies and divinity at that time, it really goes in deep during the night. And so I wanted to offer that. Even if you don't have time to pray or practice at night, before going to sleep, as my head hits the pillow, I always say a few prayers to God. You don't need a posture, a specific posture, and it could just be a normal conversation. It's just saying, thank you for my day. It's just a conversation. It's a connection. Then normally I say His name a couple times and I'm off to sleep. It's a practice. And it leads to a very powerful practice one can develop, which is called dream yoga. And actually a way of beginning that is the preparation as you go to sleep with a prayer and saying the name of God. So it's all about changing our minds, our frequencies, our energies. In a way, we're trying to get, like a swimmer gets wet in a river, we're trying to get wet in the river of God. And that when we get out, we stay wet for as long as possible. And the way to do that is to jump in the river again and again and again. And with each time, we retain more of that divine water of life. That divine wisdom, that divine presence, that divine healing, that divine blessing. And like that piece of wood amongst the incense sticks, very soon we within ourselves start emitting that frequency into our lives, into our thoughts, into our emotions, and things really start shifting. And we'll see progress on our path. And we'll have encouragement to continue because of it. So my friends, I invite you to continue as you wish. I hope this has been a wonderful time for you all. And I hope it's been helpful. I love spending this time with you. And I look forward to being with you all this Sunday, 7 a.m. Pacific time and 3 p.m. Pacific time. The live teaching at 7 and a rebroadcast at 3 p.m. So please do continue. And, it's very individual to each person. So make it wonderful and vibrant and alive as you wish. Have a wonderful evening. Bye-bye.